HSS Stratocaster type guitars, that's a double cutaway body like this with a bridge humbucking pickup and two single coil pickups in neck and middle, are said to be some of the most versatile workhorse electric guitars out there, capable of excellent tones in any genre, from super clean jazz to modern down-tuned metal. And this guitar, the brand new Harley Benton ST-Modern, is one of the most affordable to make that claim, coming in at €179. And what I'm going to do in this video is answer the question of how good this guitar can really be for that money. Now, this is going to be an in-depth review and demo. I'll start by telling you about the specs and the features of this guitar. Then I'll play it for you in as many different musical styles as I can possibly manage, maybe from a bit of jazzy cleans all the way through to the aforementioned down-tuned metal. And afterwards, I'll give you a few more detailed opinions about this guitar, what's good about it, what's perhaps not quite so good about it, and crucially, is it going to be worth those €179 of your hard-earned cash at the end of the day. Now, as usual for my channel, everything will be time-stamped down there in the descriptions and comments, so you can skip to the parts of the video that are going to suit you best. But let's kick off with the information part, and let me tell you about the specs and the features of the Harley Benton ST-Modern. Now, the ST-Modern was launched at Guitar Summit in Mannheim, Germany in September 2024, and the first batch was made available in October 2024. It promptly sold out, like many Harley Benton launches recently, and I think as of time of filming, you're probably going to have to wait a few weeks until you can get your hand on the next batch of this guitar. I'll link to it in the description, but Harley Benton were kind enough to send me this one to make a series of videos with. Now, like I said, this guitar will set you back €179, and it is the stripped back, no frills version of the previously launched Harley Benton ST-Modern Plus, which will set you back €399, so just over twice this, and comes with the likes of stainless steel frets and a Babbage bridge and so on that this guitar doesn't have. Later in the video, I think I will go into the question a bit of whether or not I think this guitar or the ST-Modern Plus is more worth your money, so stick around for that if you want to hear what I think there. But anyway, those specs of the ST-Modern. You get a poplar body here, and in this case it's covered with a beautiful seafoam green finish that looks fantastic with this mint green pickguard too, and we have a roasted maple neck and a laurel fingerboard. Now, this is an HSS guitar, like I mentioned, so we've got a humbucker in the bridge and single coils in neck and middle. These are Harley Benton's HBZ Alnico 5 pickups. So you've got your standard 5-way Stratocaster type switch to go from neck and middle to just middle to middle and bridge to just bridge, but you've also got a master tone control that you can pull up here to split this humbucker down to single coils, and that's going to affect the full bridge setting and the in-between position here as well to give us more classic Quacky Strat type tones. We also have a master volume control here, and here we have your standard whammy bar vibrato bridge. This is a Harley Benton branded one, but it's made by Sung Eel, who also happen to make hardware for the likes of Wilkinson, so we know that this is going to be good stuff. And we also have Sung Eel locking tuners up at the headstock. If I move us around to the back of the body there, you can see that we've got a nice big tummy cut there. We've got excellent upper fret access here as well, and HB stamped on the neck plate too, which is pretty darn cool. And moving up to the neck, well, like I said before, we've got roasted maple here. It's a really nice looking neck. It's not flamed like the ST-Modern Plus, but it is a beautiful thing to behold anyway, and it feels fantastic. So smooth and slinky. We've got a laurel fingerboard here too with 22 frets. They're medium jumbo nickel silver frets, so not stainless steel like on the ST-Modern Plus, but they've got rounded edges too, and I have to say straight off the bat they feel pretty darn fantastic. We've got a 42mm graphite nut here, 25.5-inch scale length, which is 648mm, and we've got what Harley Benton refer to as a compound radius fingerboard. Down here it starts at 12 inches, so that's already pretty flat, but it moves up to 16 inches up at the top end of the board, so that's going to make it really easy to play chords down here and really easy to do shreds and soloing and stuff like that up at the top end. Now, the profile of this neck is Harley Benton's Modern D profile. It's not super skinny, not super thick, it feels really comfortable in the hand, and I think anybody who likes a modern feeling neck is really going to enjoy this one. Moving up to the headstock, we've got a pretty standard S-type headstock there, and those 6-in-line locking ML55 Sung Eel tuners with a Harley Benton logo on them. So this is the Harley Benton ST-Modern. Seems like a lot of guitar for €179, but just how good is it? Well, it's time to find that out now, because it's time to play the guitar in as many different musical styles as I possibly can, from the cleanest of cleans to the dirtiest of dirts. Now, I'll be using my Hughes & Kettner Black Spirit 200 amp head today. We'll use a bunch of the amp's different channels, plus numerous different effects pedals to spice things up and get as many different tones and musical genres out of this guitar as I possibly can. Like I said, timestamps to everything down there if you'd like to skip through to the music that suits you best. But this is the ST-Modern. Let's play it now, and we'll speak in a bit more detail about it afterwards. Okay then, so that was the Harley Benton ST-Modern in Seafoam Green, and I hope you enjoyed the playing and the tones. Leave me your thoughts down there telling me what you thought of this guitar. Did it sound good to you? Do you like these HBZ pickups? And do you think that an HSS Strat type guitar is the best out there? Or can you make it through a gig with an SSS pickup configuration? As always, looking forward to hearing your thoughts and getting a discussion going in the comments. But what I want to do now is tell you a few more of my in-depth opinions about this guitar. Now, since Harley Benton sent it for me to do these videos, well, I've played it quite a lot and there's quite a bit to say about it too. But I was very excited when I saw these being launched in Mannheim at the Guitar Summit. Ben from Harley Benton told me about these guitars and I was excited to get this one home and plug it in to my own rig. But my first impressions when I got this guitar out of the box were as follows. Well, firstly, I love the looks of this guitar. I love Seafoam Green anyway, but this one just looks fantastic. The mint green pickguard is also lovely, and this roasted maple neck looks fantastic too. Of course, if you know me, you'd know that I'd prefer a rosewood board or even ebony, but for this price point these days, we're not going to get that. But it's a fantastic looking guitar, and it just makes me want to pick it up and play it, so that's a great start. When I picked it up, I realized that the weight of this guitar was pretty good. For Harley Benton, for me, I'm often expecting heavier guitars. This specific one weighs 3.47 kilograms, which is just under 8 pounds. It's about 7/10 and 5/8 to be quite precise, actually. Anything under 8 pounds is a win for me as well. And as soon as I picked up the guitar and put the neck into my left hand, well, it felt fantastic. I love roasted maple, I love this satin finish, and I already got high impressions of the guitar from my first 30 seconds holding it in my two hands. So the first impressions were really good then, and then I moved on to looking at the guitar in a bit more detail and assessing the build quality. And at a price point like this, and with Harley Benton, what you're kind of doing is really looking to see what's wrong with the guitar. And this guitar, well, it doesn't appear to have anything wrong with it. The build quality seems to be really rather good. No issues with the neck or anything like that, and the setup came great straight out of the box. The nut seems to have been cut well, the frets have been done really well, really nice and smooth, the action and the intonation dead on, and crucially, this sung eel bridge and these locking tuners, well, they keep tune really well. And when I'm doing a bit of bending with the whammy bar here, the guitar stays in tune, and I think that's a fantastic thing. That's always a risk factor with cheaper floating bridges like this, but it works on this guitar. And one other thing that I think's pretty cool that Harley Benton have included is the double action truss rod with adjustment wheel down at the body end of the neck. This makes it super easy to access if you do need to tweak the neck at any point. The guitar comes with a tool to do so as well, and I think for €179, that's a great thing to have access to. In terms of the rest of the craftsmanship, well, the finish has been done really well. I can't find any issues with the build quality in that sense. No paint flaws or cracks or anything like that down at the heel joint or anything like that either. The electronics and the pots do their jobs just fine, and so full marks again for the build quality too, especially at this price point. Although don't go expecting a custom shop Fender in terms of quality levels or anything like that. This guitar costs €179, not $17.99 or anything like that. So have your expectations tempered, and I think you could be very pleased with this guitar in the build quality stakes as well. After that, I started to plug in and play, and playability wise, I really like this guitar. Now this is a modern feeling S-type guitar. It's got this modern D shape, it's got the compound fingerboard radius as well, it's got the HSS pickups too. It's built to play like a modern rocking machine. If you want a more classic Strat type feel, go for Harley Benton's ST-62, and there you're going to get 3 single coils and a more traditional feeling neck. But this modern feeling neck feels fantastic for me. Again, I just love this profile. I love the roasted maple. It feels so good in the hand, and it feels like home for me. So full marks there for the playability. And if you're someone who wants to be going up and playing up at the 22nd fret, well, you get excellent upper fret access via this neck joint too. So full marks there as well. Really good in terms of playability then. And if you know your S-type guitars, you'll know that Leo Fender got this design right when he designed it all those decades ago, and this body just feels great. And one final thing to say about playability concerns the positioning of the volume control. And that might sound like an odd thing, but it's something that's important to me with Strats. Often with classic Fender type Strats, well, I find the volume control to be a little bit too close to the bridge pickup. And that means that my picking hand is constantly knocking the volume control and making the guitar quieter. And that can get really annoying. And I know this is something that I could probably change in the way that I'm holding my right hand and stuff like that. But with this guitar, and in fact with many other modern S-type guitars, they've moved the volume control just a little bit further away from the pickup so I don't constantly knock it. And well, that works for me, and I really like that about this guitar. So there's little clever design features that elevates it above some of the competition. But the other thing to talk about, of course, is the sounds of this guitar. Now this is an HSS Strat type type, as I've said, we've got these HBZ pickups, and it's got a coil split on the bridge humbucker too. So in theory, it should be one of the most versatile guitars out there. And well, you've heard it, and it kind of is. You can literally play any style of music with this guitar, no problem. This being a more modern take on the Strat style of design, well, we get higher output pickups and we get more hi-fi, more pristine sounds out of these pickups, especially compared to classic sounding Strat sort of guitars. But again, the Harley Benton ST-62 is your guitar if you want the classic Strat experience. But I found these HBZ pickups, and this, by the way, is the first guitar that I've ever tried with HBZ pickups, to be really, really decent sounding indeed. When you do the coil splitting with the bridge humbucker, you do get a bit of a dip in volume. That's something you'll need to take care of. But if you're after classic sort of Strat tones, you can get it with this, but it excels in more modern styles too. Now, we kicked things off with the clean channel of the amp, and well, with these 5 different pickup selection options and the coil splits, any kind of music was possible, from strummed acoustic style tones to funky stuff to stratty bluesy stuff to indie, and even pushing the amp into a tiny bit of light breakup when really digging in with the bridge humbucker. I really like this guitar, playing it clean with the bridge humbucker engaged. It's a fantastic sound, modern and chunky and just fat, and it just works for me, so I really, really liked that. Next, I kicked in my Greer Lightspeed for indie and alternative rock tones, and again, fantastic sounds were on offer. With this pickup layout, you can basically get any style of alternative rock going, and it just worked for me. Really nice and aggressive with a biting top end when I needed it, really mellow and kind of edgy when I needed that too, and it covered everything from Mando Jow to Smashing Pumpkins to Gaslight Anthem, anything like that. It will do it. This guitar, no problem. Then I switched to the crunch channel of the amplifier, and it was just perfect for thick, mid-pushed classic rock tones in the vein of AC/DC or Airbourne or something like that. Covers that ground, no problem whatsoever. I then decided, because I was having so much fun, to kick in my JHS Bender fuzz pedal, and we got some lovely, thick, woolly garage rock tones out of this guitar as well. Really, really nice with fuzz. I'm in a bit of a fuzz honeymoon at the moment, but it just sounded huge for those tones. After that, we went up to the hard rock stuff on the lead channel of the amp, and this guitar is great for that. It's great for hard rock and glam rock and punk rock and modern rock and stuff like that. It just works. It's really thick and fat sounding, but it's got a surprising amount of clarity too. And if the bridge humbucker is getting a bit too muddy, well, you can split it down with the coil split, and you'll hear every one of those 6 strings if you're hitting big, distorted chords. So it was great for that too. And when we went down to drop D and I kicked in the Rev G3, well, fantastic metal tones too. Lovely, fat and thick chugging tones on the humbucker, but you can split it down to get even more top-end aggression and bite out of this guitar, and well, it does everything. And I would challenge you not to be able to find the sounds that you like with this guitar. I reckon you probably wouldn't be able to do that, because for me, it can cover any kinds of tones and then some. But hey, if you've been watching this video and you kind of like the idea, but you're wondering what else is out there, well, of course, there's a lot. S-type guitars, every builder will make them. HSS guitars, pretty much every kind of S-type builder builds an HSS type guitar as well. But for this kind of money, you're going to be really hard pushed to find something that matches it. Now, if you want a slightly more classic Strat type experience from Harley Benton, for about 150 euros, you can go for the ST-62, which is going to give you 3 single coil pickups and much more of a vintage feeling playing experience as well. I've tried a number of ST-62s and they've all been great guitars, albeit in a much more vintage style, so it's whatever floats your boat there. Now, the really big question here is going to be, should you go with the ST-Modern, or should you spring the 399 euros to get the ST-Modern Plus? Well, you get a number of other features in the ST-Modern Plus that you don't get with the ST-Modern. I think most significantly, you get stainless steel frets, you get Luminlay inlays as well, you get the same locking tuners, but you get a Babbage bridge down at the body as well. You also get Tesla pickups and not the HBZ own brand pickups, and you get an older body compared to the Poplar body. Now, those are the big main changes that I can think of off the top of my head. And is that going to be worth the money? Well, if you add up the cost of all of those things, it definitely is. If you want the feel of the stainless steel frets, which is definitely different to standard nickel silver frets, you should go for that as well. And of course, stainless steel frets are going to last forever. I would say that you need to test it for yourself too. The two guitars are going to feel quite similar apart from those frets at the end of the day. Now, if you want the flame neck, of course, that's just a looks thing. And in many ways, I consider this guitar to be kind of like a Les Paul Studio compared to a Les Paul Standard or even a custom, and that's what the ST-Modern Plus is going to be. I would say probably if you've got the money, you will appreciate the extra stuff that you get with the ST-Modern Plus, but if you don't have the money, you can be more than happy with this guitar. And for me personally, I don't need the flame on the neck. That's not something I look for, that kind of bling. I don't need the stainless steel frets. frets, although I kind of like them, and I've tried the Babbage bridge on the ST-Modern Plus, and I've tried this Harley Benton Sung Il bridge on the ST-Modern, and you know what? It's not that much of a deal breaker for me either way. I've heard a few people online saying that they don't really like the positioning and the design of the Babbage bridge when it comes to palm muting and stuff like that. This bridge here on the ST-Modern is just a kind of standard just works sort of a bridge, and I do have to say, I'm not sure if I've mentioned it yet, but it stays in tune really well when I use it repeatedly. A really stable bridge, and it's definitely something to be looking at when buying a guitar like this. So there you go, that's my thoughts on the ST-Modern versus the ST-Modern Plus. But what if you want to go to other brands outside of Harley Benton for a guitar like this? Well, you're probably going to be looking at Squier guitars, and for this price point, well, it's the Squier Sonic series, and for the same price as this, 179 euros or similar in dollars, you can get the HSS Squier Sonic Strat. That's a great guitar too, but I have to say, on paper and in terms of feel, the Harley Benton offers you just a little bit more. Now, if you want to go up the Squier ranges and pay a bit more money, of course you can with the Affinity, and next up from that is going to be the Classic Vibe, which everybody knows and loves, for about 350 to 450, that kind of thing. Again, that's going to be a much more vintage feeling experience than the ST-Modern, but those are fantastic guitars if you find a good one. And outside of Squier, there's a number of other brands. Probably my favorite top underrated tip would be to try out the Yamaha Pacifica series. Currently, the most affordable new HSS Pacificas are about 250 euros, but they're always dirt cheap on the used market, and Pacificas are always great value guitars, kind of no frills, excellent takes on the S-type of instrument. There are also going to be options by the likes of Ibanez in their Geo range for this sort of price, maybe a little bit more, and then other brands like Court and Moore and so on, because like I said, so many companies make an HSS type of Strat guitar, but you'll be hard pushed to find one that offers you better value for money than the Harley Benton. So what I'd really recommend you do is head down to your local guitar store, try as many as you can, see which kind of specs work best for you, and if you don't live anywhere near Bamberg and you can't test one of these in person, well, consider ordering the Harley Benton that specs-wise works best for you. So if it's a more modern take on the guitar, it's going to be the ST-Modern. If you want to pay a bit more money, the ST-Modern Plus. And if you like the feel of a more classic type guitar like the Classic Vibes, for example, the Harley Benton ST-62 is going to be a great option there as well. But at the end of the day, I'm hugely impressed with the Harley Benton ST-Modern. For 179 euros, I think this guitar represents excellent value for money. It looks great straight out of the box, it feels great, it plays really nicely, it's really stable in terms of tuning too. I like the tones from the HBZ pickups, and well, it's just a really decent instrument. So if you're someone who's starting out, this could be a fantastic option for a first guitar. And if you're just someone who has a number of other guitars and you want to go the affordable way into owning an HSS Strat type guitar, well, definitely have this one on your shortlist. It's positively surprised me in every way, and I've tested so many Harley Benton guitars over the years that shouldn't be a thing anymore, but they just seem to be upping their game with every new release at the moment, and I really like this guitar. If you've got any more questions about it though, let me know down there in the comments and I shall answer to the best of my ability. But that's been it for today's video. I've been Rich and this has been the Harley Benton ST-Modern, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.